No, oh, yeah.
Get close. Okay. Okay, it's 7 o'clock. I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Darcy, if you'd call the roll, please.
Moore, Marr, Moody.
Yep.
Engstrom.
Yes.
Engelhardt.
Here.
All right, thank you. So item 3 is the Pledge of Allegiance. Everybody please stand and do the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item 4 then is perfection and approval of the agenda. Is there a motion for that?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Carry. All right. Okay, item 5 is public comment time. Ready?
I'm here tonight to talk to the 862 people who pay their sewer bill every month in Postville. And I wonder if these people who pay that sewer bill, if they realize that part of that money is going to AgriStar to pay for their wastewater plant up there. Asked the mayor that this be put on the agenda. He refused. You need to reconsider that, Mr. Mayor. You owe 62 people who voted for you in this town to be honest with them, tell them what's happening up there. By the way, the property that plant is on, it's owned by Neville Property. Okay, that's all I have to say.
All right.
So one more thing. When you see the mayor or you see a council person or you come to pay your bill down here, I think it's essential that the people of the town ask why we are paying for a private company to help them with their wastewater plant. I don't think it's right. They can afford to pay that themselves. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else for public comment?
Good evening.
Good evening.
We're just briefly here, Mary here and I, to talk about community center. So over the past 4 years, I've been involved with the farmers market and the plus community things. And our community does not really have what I would call a community center that's nice, or Turner Hall is nice, yes, but it's not all on one level and so forth. So Mary and I took a tour of Dreamland, and we came up with some things that we have thought about while touring that. Mary to a few other people, but we just want to come to the council and just present a few things and see which direction that you would like to go, for in our community. And I'll just let Mary talk kind of about what our thoughts were.
How to use the building.
Right.
Yeah, so it could be used a lot more than what it is, as far as, because it's not really heat, and it's, a lot of things need to be updated. But I know some people feel it has historical features to it, but whether it's something the city could help, or I don't know how it, but who owns it for sure, where the breakdown is there. But if it's something to do some updates, renovating to it, or if it's too much mean, just to go ahead and take out the things that maybe mean something to the Dreamland, the signs, whatnot, and put that into a new building, like Wacoma or Steina has a nice, great facility.
What do they use it for? What would you use it?
Weddings,
Oh, like a,
Mhm.
meetings, just
Okay.
reunions.
Could be an
the list
event
could go on.
center.
Yes,
Right,
yes.
Mhm.
And of course, be part of fundraisers or 4-H.
Part of the fair, part of the alumni banquet maybe could be held there.
So I talked to the gal that runs it, Wacoma does, but they have a 501(c) board that kind of runs it because the city didn't want to take on the debt of it. So she's welcomed us or anyone that would want to go and take a tour of it, just to get ideas. Because they have, I mean, I think a big thing would be a nice kitchen, nice bar. They have a locked bar area. So if you just had a meeting or something that didn't need that, it'd be locked and then you wouldn't have that, or you wouldn't have to do it. But a separate meeting room, just kind of see what features, what things we want to use or put into it. It's just something, is that something you want to do for the community down the road that you'd be interested in?
Do you mind if so our owl isn't really tracking tonight. So if you girls would give your name, please, for anybody that's listening.
Call it in your.
Mary Hinger.
Okay, thanks.
I talked to a lady last summer at the farmer's market from when those people from Dubuque came out.
Oh, okay.
And she thought, she loved the fairgrounds out there. She thought they were so nice. And then I said, well, that's an old dance hall. And she said, and I asked her, I said, we could use some funds to, a little bit or something. So she supposedly is on the lookout for renovating old things like that. So I don't know. I have not heard back from her, but
Not for
anyway, so
sure, Darcy. Is the Dreamland on the historical register?
I don't know where that is.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Well, yeah, I don't know, but
I
she
think it was
was,
built in the early 50s.
yeah.
mhm.
Because my dad painted the sign across the front of it when I was probably junior high or like probably junior high.
So, but you're right, and especially, as the school is not allowing us to use the room for a lot of things because wrestling's taking over that room. So
Right.
we almost need another room.
Mhm.
Ground floor access.
Right,
Yes,
the ground floor
yeah,
access,
yeah.
yeah. Turner Hall is a nice building, but
Yes.
it's just 2 levels and
Yeah,
hard to access.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
if you would have a wedding and a band and so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it doesn't need to be a huge building, maybe
Right.
150 people would be your max.
Yeah.
So it would be usable. And then of course there is guidelines that would be drawn out as far as manager and even if a certain number was met, you have a bouncer. So there would be control. There'd be somebody there because things have gotten out of hand in the past and we certainly don't want that to happen.
Right.
And law enforcement can be everywhere. So there needs to be some rules and some management.
First thing is to get it taken care of.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
Yes.
So
yeah, I think this is starting the conversation.
right,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Who pays the bills there now, like electric and sewer gas or sewer water?
I believe the city. No,
Maybe
the
through the
fairgrounds.
fairground.
Fair board?
The fair board, do they lease?
Yeah, they lease it.
Mhm. And I did have a conversation. with
So
my
who
clerk
actually
about
owns it then?
City.
The city owns the
Okay.
ground in the building.
Yeah, just wanted to bring these ideas before you guys and see if you would like to pursue something, and that you're like to be part of that, as well as.
Yes, staffing, insurance and liability, those kind of things, I was aware of the walk home, I've been walk home in the Festina.
Right.
In fact, are you open to bringing back more, want us to pursue it more and bring them back?
Agenda, so they
I think so.
Yeah, we would have to.
Not today.
Yeah, we got-
Right.
Yeah.
Right, so if you
Right.
wanna put it on your agenda and give us. some
Sure, yep,
direction.
yep.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you bet. Thank you. Hey, anybody else from the public? Hey,
I got a question, I guess. I got what I think is budget request.
Yep, that's coming up.
Number 7.
Correct.
Okay, so just wait till then.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, if there's nobody else from the public, we'll close that part of the meeting and go on to item 6 is appointment for council committees. You folks have got the sheet in front of you, right? And we need, first of all, Ross is off anymore. And so we need to fill in Ross's positions. And this is a great time for you guys to change committees if you would like.
Devore and I have been really anxious to start walking on the streets and checking out sidewalks.
Do you want to stay on that?
Yeah, because we were gonna do it last year and then all hell broke loose.
Okay.
we didn't.
So Mara and Engelhardt will be on the sidewalk committee.
Yes.
Okay. I would like to be on finance. Ingstrom, you're on that, and then Malcolm was on it. Is there somebody else that would like to, or Mary, maybe you want to be done, or?
You probably don't want me doing math.
Well, you just have to review the bills.
Oh, that's different.
And then,
I sure can.
okay.
Okay. And then streets and lights.
Ingstrom and Mar.
I think that one probably, depending if you'd like to change, otherwise we'll leave it the
You
same.
said sidewalks will stay the same. Like, you're okay with that, Mary? Okay.
Okay.
Water is Engelhardt and Moore. Okay.
That sewer and fire.
Sewers next, yeah.
Mary, you okay to stay on sewer?
Yeah.
Fire?
All right.
That meeting with the real board, that involves or what?
It's
And
just-
right now I'm meeting, I'm on that committee, what do you call her?
The commission?
The fire commission.
Commission.
That commission,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm on that.
Yep.
So
Okay.
I should stay on that. I guess maybe I should be the chairman. I'm trying to beg it, but I'm.
Okay, so you're changing that to chair.
Okay,
Okay.
that'd probably break your heart. All right.
I'll cry later.
Industrial waste.
I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Okay, so,
If one of you two want off.
no, Moody wants on.
Moody and
Yeah,
Moore.
that she'd be good there.
Okay. Engelhardt, you want to stay or you want Larry to take?
I thought Larry wanted to stay.
Okay,
Where?
on
Industrial waste.
Well, I don't have to stay as chairman.
Yeah, you do.
What?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Okay, so
Well, then,
Engelhardt.
after a year, then you kind of
Yeah,
know what's
yeah,
going on. and-
Yeah,
and
we'll do this again next year.
Somebody be a under chair for a while, then.
You'll be my study.
Okay, storm sewer utility. And Ross
would-
was on
I
that.
would do that.
You will?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. City
I
buildings.
can stay on it.
Okay,
Leave that.
city buildings.
Yeah.
Okay, Mary? Personnel committee.
Tell me what that committee does. Is that
Basically,
negotiate?
any employee issues,
Okay.
interviews, those type of
I
things.
would do that.
You want
Wanna
that?
do that? Okay, Mary, are you okay staying on that?
Okay, then we got Winnebago County Solid Waste Agency Council Rep. Ross was on that, so we will need a new person there. Until that, it consists of, they have a
Landfill.
meeting
They meet once a month.
once a month.
I will just
Okay,
to get familiarized with it.
And then we got the City Tree Board Council Rep.
What is
Ross
that?
was on that.
it's usually like a board member that's on when we do grant applications, those type of things as part of the board. Tree planting, tree removal, any issues with
And
trees.
who is on that board?
It's a pretty slim one. That one's looking for board members. Chris Hackman serves on it. I think CC Mueller might be
Do
on
they
it.
meet very often?
Pretty rarely.
I'll be on it.
Okay.
I got a lot of obligations.
Okay, then Community Health Initiative Council Rep.
Mary, are you okay?
I have no idea what it is. I've never been
Never been
contacted,
called.
so I'll stay there.
You might as well.
Everyone-
Maybe you have no
Someday,
calls, right?
someday you'll get to receive a big
Yeah.
check or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
So,
there you go.
And then we just have the weed commissioner is Becky. Are you good still staying as weed commissioner?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
And then Mary for housing authority,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay,
all right.
that's the updates then. We'll get you a new sheet then.
And then the roll call vote, we changed that.
Yeah, the order has changed.
Get a list of
I'll
numbers and
update
stuff.
everything, yeah, for you
Okay.
for your next packet.
All right.
Then you'll update my phone number and
Yep.
for Ross's and stuff.
All right. Good to go, huh?
Mhm.
Okay, then item 7 is board and organization, and this is the budget request now. So, and we don't have any particular order for this, so,
Just ask this.
but I'm supposed to ask the question, all right? It says, how well will the taxpayers benefit if the city gives your organization tax dollars? So that's the question.
Great. So my name's Crystal Duffy. The first presentation, I guess, will be on behalf of the library and the director of the Postal Public Library. In my budget worksheet, I asked for a small increase for our budget from the city this year. Two big things were behind that for me. One, our insurance. When I started a year and a half ago, the insurance for the library was $2,600 and now it's over $4,000. So I don't expect, that's an almost $1,400 increase. I don't expect it's going to miraculously go down. I know that it's also gone up for the city as well, but my job is to take care of the library and advocate for the library. So, and the other big thing for us is salaries. Last year, a council member asked if our budget was enough to pay our employees well, and I think I laughed in response. And it's not because the city isn't generous. It's just because of everything we have to pay for and do with the library. Our salaries are pretty low. So this last year when I've hired new folks, I hired people at $10 an hour, and then that was high schoolers. And then I hired someone with 20 years of experience using Microsoft Office and QuickBooks at $11 an hour. Because someone who's been at the library for 16 years was only making 12. So I can't very well, offer these magical wages. And so I just wanted to share some of the services that we provide for the community at the library that you may not be aware of. We provide tech support for quite a large number of people in town now. I would say anywhere from 5 to 10 people a week come in with their cell phones, computers, questions about their Wi-Fi, their iPads, various devices, and they really wouldn't necessarily have anywhere else to go besides their children or grandchildren for that help if they're in town. We have also on a number of occasions helped people avoid both identity theft and fraud when they are using our computers and asking us for help. I had someone who asked about sending money to someone online, and I went over to the computer and they were trying to pay for an apartment in Minneapolis, but the name of the apartment was in Colorado and you could obviously tell it was a fake picture. And so we're sort of on the front lines for helping folks in our community not get taken advantage of. A lot of times people come in and ask us to email things and copy things, and we can sort of be that next level of like, are you sure you want us to fax this or send this or do this, and help people not get taken advantage of, especially in our community with how many people have a language barrier and get taken advantage of, and then also our senior population. We provide a safe study location for our students in town. The school itself actually utilizes our interlibrary loan service we have to borrow at least 100 books a year for students at the school. We have community activities, summer reading this last year, had a huge, I think almost 300 people showed up. We have a book club, we have coffee hour, we have all kinds of things. We have Canva classes, story time. This last winter, we provided clothes for free for people who are in need. We help people try and understand their immigration paperwork when they're coming in, or they're trying to study for their citizenship test and they don't know what a word is and they don't know how to use a computer. We help people with resumes. We host Iowa Works every week to help people file their unemployment and find jobs. We have 8, almost soon to be 9 computers for the public. We provide free software for people to learn any language they want. Potentially in town, the emphasis might be on learning English and or Spanish for some of us, but it's a free software anyone can use. We provide a place for remote workers to use our Wi-Fi when theirs is down, which seems to happen quite a lot. We provide Wi-Fi for the whole community to use. It's doubled this past year, the usage. We provide culturally relevant materials for all the groups in town. We help people get GED study guides. We help people find continued education in GED classes at community colleges. We help people file taxes for low income. We are a host for Title I and vocational rehab for them to meet with their clients and meet with students. We are one of the first stops for many people who are new to the community and don't know where anything is or how anything works. We provide free books through the Oneota Valley Literary Foundation in both English and Spanish to folks in our community. We offer translation services. We make calls on behalf of folks to utility companies, etc., when their English is maybe not good enough for that phone call, but they can converse with us and kind of explain what it is they need. We help people pay bills on the phone, call their banks. We provide books in large print through Decorah Public Library for free for those who need large print books. And we're just sort of a general kind of informational place where people come to get information. And that is on top of obviously offering books, DVDs, audiobooks, etc. So my other thought with moving forward with salaries is that at some point in time, I may want to retire, and you're not going to find a library director at $15 an hour take over all of that work. Yeah. So I think about the future and how are we going to sustain all those services and how are we going to get someone come in who wants to do all of that. No one becomes a librarian to be rich, but they should at least be able to not be on food stamps. So that is what I have for the library. Do any of you have any questions?
Good job, Chris.
You're presenting and.
And my budget worksheet, I asked for 4,000 more this year. 1,400 of that would go to the insurance, or 2 or 3 probably, and the rest I would put into the budget for salary.
No, you won't have it until we have our workshop. You're
Okay,
just
what- now,
listening tonight.
What did we give you last year? I don't have
I think it was 52 and I'm asking for 56.
5,200 to
52,000.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sal.
Keeping in mind, we also pay all of our utilities, all of our insurance, all of the everything for the snow, lawn, anything that breaks, a new roof, the air conditioning, the sidewalk that's falling apart, any of that. We pay for all of it. We're completely self.
Yeah.
Okay, should I move on to the
our
other half?
sheet that we get for the library? Do we have all those expenses? Right?
Yep.
Okay.
I gave it to Darcy last week and then ran away. So my other presentation or ask is that we try and find a way to find funding or set aside funding for a community developer at the city. A lot of us have had a lot of conversations about this, so this isn't a surprise or a shock or anything. And I just wanted to present to you why I think that would be important. It was one of the goals of Heart and Soul, but that doesn't mean that it was achieved necessarily. But I do think that over the past year, at least, if not longer, we have proven how valuable that position could be. But so looking first at our community Heart and Soul data, the number one response we got from people about what they wanted to see in town was community events, community activities, and Taste of Postville. And none of that's going to happen without a community developer. In fact, it hasn't happened since 2006 when the community developer had their budget cut and they quit. So that's the last time we had Taste of Postville. It's 2006. In 2007, there was a volunteer group who attempted to make it happen and it didn't. And I've met a few of those people. I went digging through old newspaper articles in case you're wondering where these numbers came from, and I have copies of all of them. So in 2001, we had 2,300 people show up to Taste of Postville. In 2002, we had 3,200 people show up to Taste of Postville. If each of them only spent $10, that's 32 grand spent in one day. If 5% of those people came back to Postville, that's 160 people. And they came back once a year to get a dinner, maybe do a little shopping at La Canasta. $50 maybe, 8 grand a year. That's 40 grand a year into our local economy just from one event. And I think the potential is for there to be a lot more. Does that go straight into the city's coffers? Of course it doesn't, but it does get distributed through our businesses. Our Heart and Soul statements showed very clearly some things I think a community developer could help with. community events we already talked about, diversity, local business. That's a huge one that a community developer could help you with, working in line with Val. Elkader, Lansing, Waupun, all of these communities have at least one person, if not more, doing this work, and they are reasonably successful at getting people into their community. All these special events you see, these like wine crawls, these different things, those are all being done by community developers in different cities. Being welcoming, one of our statements is about being welcoming. I fully believe a community developer can help that. And then volunteerism and leadership. So I think 5 of our 7 statements directly would be impacted by having a community developer. I'm sure the other 2 would be as well. Rural communities don't succeed by accident. So I just wanted to share some of the things we've done over the past year, as I've been a part-time community developer that has actually spent more time filling out paperwork for Heart and Soul than I have been doing community development. But just in the last year, with a few hours a week, I'm able to do. We did a night out in Postville where we hosted over 15 people from outside of Postville and inside to walk around and buy things and spend money and go to restaurants, and it was amazing. We were in 3 different newspapers and publications besides the Postville Herald. Nothing wrong with Postville Herald. We were probably in that about 20 times, but we had our Taste of Postville coupon event. I presented at the Iowa Librarians Association conference about Postville and what we're doing to help our diverse population, and had 5 different people email me afterwards asking for advice on how to run a library in a diverse population. I presented at the Iowa Rural Development panel about libraries last year as well. I'm presenting in Texas in April about our community at a conference called Welcoming America, which is focused on welcoming immigrants. We doubled our Facebook group numbers. It was 600 people when I took over. It's now over 1,200. I'm sure like 100 of those are bots. I'm working on getting rid of them. We are forming a welcoming group right now that will continue. We've created a framework for how we reach people in town. If we want to reach this population, where do we advertise? What do we do? If we want to reach this population, how is it different? We've got more than 300 people to take our survey about what they want to see in our town. We got a visit from Congresswoman Hinson. We have 8 listings on the Travel Iowa website. We used to have 1. We updated our tourism brochures for Almaquee, Clayton County, and the Waupun Standard Tourism. We have an ad in Destination Driftless. And we did 2 community cleanups. All of that was done while I was primarily doing Heart and Soul work. So if you had someone who was just doing community development and didn't have to do the Heart and Soul process, but in fact had the plan that we are making right now for Heart and Soul that told them exactly what the city wants, exactly who's going to do it, and how to move forward, it would be a very powerful position. So I'm hoping we can figure that out. And that's what I have for that. Sorry it was so long.
Thank you.
Crystal.
Wonderful.
Sorry.
There you go. Chris, you want to come out? Or yeah, because I think you got to travel a little, don't you?
Sure. Thank you. I'm Chris Trundle. I'm with Upper Explorerland. I'm from the Lansing area. Yeah, you should, if I was rehiring again, you could apply down there. I'm an economic development person for Lansing Main Street, so it's for that. Anyways, again, I'm with Upper Explorerland. You guys had received a letter back in October requesting money for 2025. And I'm just here to talk a little bit about that. Some of the other programs, I won't be quite as long, but I will still go. And anyway, so I just did a small report, just showing the past 5 years with regards to the Housing Trust Fund and what it does. Is everybody familiar with the Housing Trust Fund here?
No. You can
Not at all. So
enlighten
the
me.
Housing Trust Fund is based on housing, and it is for the Northeast Iowa, the 5 counties. So Howard County, Almaquee, Clayton, and Winneshiek. And here's some more copies for you that you can have.
Okay.
Anyways, part of the work that I do with this is making housing affordable for low to moderate income folks in the area. And what I'm doing here tonight is to request money, as a lot of organizations do, but you guys had for quite a few years given in the past to do projects in the town. The money that is for use that comes from each community stays within the community, and it gets put towards projects with that. So for instance, you look at 2019, He had $29,000, and you take a look through the entire list. If anybody's interested in having a piece of paper, that's fine. In the last 5 years, there's been $162,308, I think, in the last 5 years. I want to say he probably invested in roughly 5 to 10,000 of that. I didn't pull the numbers, but so your investment was well worth the drive for that. And I don't know the
I
exact
have a
number.
question. So
Yes.
what you're saying there is for like 2019, 443 West Williams, the medium income went up, I guess.
No,
And then-
that was the applicants where they fit within the median income.
Okay.
So
So
anything
they're
below
not
the
that
30,
percent there. Okay.
35%, you fall within a forgivable category.
Okay, so then the
above those.
project cost, this is what cost Upper Explorer land, this. money
Yes, yes,
here. The 29,150 for 29.
right. And the project costs over the years have been
One-
increased. So they had started off, I think, at 7,500 back. What was it, about, I don't know, 17, 18 years ago? It's gone up now. So we're currently doing projects at 12,500 because, as you're well aware, it's hard to put a roof on for that. And a lot of our patrons that come through for this specific program are older, disabled, or younger, and just have,
Is this like when someone comes in, they don't have any money, and they need a new roof?
yes,
Something like that.
something like that. Yep,
Okay.
that's what this will help assist with. Yes, this also helps with down payment assistance also. So if there's somebody that's looking for a first time home buyer program, we work with the local banks around here, and that also assists with that. The initial thought behind the process with the Housing Trust Fund is to give people an opportunity to be able to have sustainable, hopefully, and affordable housing that's safe to live in. And in turn, we get these projects put into place, and typically it will raise, the taxes for that specific property because you have the improvements with it, along with, your increasing housing stock. And to be quite honest, you get some of the older folks that, are probably transitional, between where they're living now and probably maybe in nursing home or something like that. And, so you're increasing your housing just for anyone, down the road also. So you're saving homes, you're keeping places safe for the people that are in them now. So the request for that being said, you can see the last year in 2023, the number is at 36,000, even though there's only 3 projects. This year I've already slated, it's only day 8, and I've got 6 projects already lined up for Postville alone. Elm-McKee County is an extremely difficult county for raising money. I'm from Elm-McKee County, I live in Lansing, as I said, but there is a tremendous amount of need in our county specifically. I will say I'm pretty fond of our county, so I try to push, a lot of projects here and help out. And we have a variety of different people from all walks of life, all backgrounds that are, applying for this funding. So please consider giving again, and especially if you can increase, because the more we can have towards projects, the better. So if you think about it this way, roughly $10,000, which I don't recall off the top of my head right now how much you've given in the past, but $10,000 is only about 3 projects, and I know that you're not giving $10,000, but you're still reaping the benefit from it. So please consider assisting with that if at all possible, because it's all worth it.
Help me out on this percentage, that's going to be a percentage of what?
That is their income. So
Oh, okay.
all the people in Northeast Iowa, actually it's the state of Iowa,
Okay,
if they fall between 35% and lower, that means they're at the lowest income level within the state of Iowa. Pretty much that would be.
What is that
close to the
nonprofit? What is that? Is that?
So the Housing Trust Fund is so the nonprofit, that would be a nonprofit because we also do for-profit and nonprofit grants that work with housing. So there was a nonprofit at one time back in 2020, and I couldn't tell you what it is off the top of my head.
you said that if they're below a certain
Is
level of income, there's no payback of the money.
Yes, so there's loans. So these are loans. So if you were to get this, tomorrow, let's say you were the applicant and you applied for this, this loan would be a mortgage, like a second mortgage on that home. And if you were to get that and you fell below that 35%, you would have a forgivable loan, meaning that you had no interest, no payments for 5 years. After 5 years, then it would just go away. I would say about 50% of all the mortgages that we send out there are probably forgivable in that range. We do them as mortgages because if you were to get this today, you could turn around and sell it tomorrow and we basically lose out. So anyways, any other questions? Everything makes sense with that? I do have other things that are out here that I also look at. I'm not requesting anything on these, but you guys be good for you to know as a city. So for Upper Explorer land, I administer a lot of different things. This is just some of them. Section 8, which I do not do myself. There's a whole group of gals that in the office I work with that. Again, with the Northeast Iowa Housing Trust Fund, we do for down payment assistance, owner occupied, for-profit and nonprofit. They're at all different rates, as you can see. We do have a new program. It's called the Home Repair Program. As a city, if you're interested and you have people that have back taxes, we will help with that process. That's brand new. So if you're interested, reach out. We have a new home buyer program, very similar to the Housing Trust Fund. That one is for upwards to $37,500 for a first-time home buyer. It also comes with a repair program. Do different CDBG grants, community catalyst grants, all of that fun stuff. That's the list. You can just take a peek at that and take a look at it. And if there's interest with that being said, what I have here is just a number of flyers. There's about 10 of them there. You guys can take whatever you want, or I can just hand them to Darcy here. And Darcy, you can probably keep them if you'd like in office, and you can hand them out as people come in to see. There's the Section 8 program stuff too for rental assistance and a few brochures. So, the biggest thing tonight for me coming here was to talk about the trust fund and all that fun stuff. But yeah, so if you have any questions with any of that,
So are all
Please
these
reach out.
programs income-based only?
they're all a little different, and each one actually has a little bit different.
Something just fell out of your wallet too.
It's a little bit different qualifications, but they are all based pretty much on income driven. Yes, the bigger ones there for like the catalyst, the CDBG grants, and things in that order. I don't know if you guys.
I'll get you just.
Yeah. So there you go. Anyways, any questions?
Where do you, obviously, if the city gives you 5,000 or 10,000 or 5,000, I don't know what it's been, you know,
I think last year we had 1,500.
1,000, okay. So how do you get your money to do these projects with?
So the remaining part of the money, so we go around, and I do this with every city and every county, and now we are starting to grow into banks, being that banks are doing down payment processes with us a lot more through this. So we have to come up with a certain percentage. So like last year, it was 79% that was state funded, which is a trickle down process from federal government within the state housing trust fund, and now we get their money. And then we have to come up with local match. So without the local match, we cannot do these projects.
Okay, so it comes, this money comes down from the state.
Correct.
Okay, federal, not so much.
Yes, some
some
of it does.
federal.
And yeah, it's kind of like I said. a
So
trickle
you
down.
basically see that state and federal money gets here to Northeast Iowa, Almaguey County.
Yep.
And if there's matches by having your
We're required to have the match.
Match.
We don't have no choice.
dollar for dollar,
Nope, it's 79, well, this last year was 79% state, and then the remaining part,
you'd have to come up with your 21%.
yep, of all the counties in the area, correct.
How big a county area are we talking?
5. So Howard, Clayton, Winnebago, Elm Key, Fayette. So it's a fairly sizable area, and there's a lot of projects, but like I said, I work primarily backwards with regards to the budget. So whatever you guys give me, that will go specifically towards Postville. It's not an issue spending the money out. And it all goes to good causes. With the down payments, that's all vetted through the bank. With the repair programs, that's vetted through me through an income verification and asset verification process. So it's well worth it. It's one heck of an investment that you get back on the money given. So if you have any questions, just please reach out, email,
Right.
and on some of the other stuff. Yeah, if you have questions on those, please.
Okay, thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Your childcare must be out there.
That's me and Christie.
Come on up. Hello.
So, if you could just share, I wanted to just show you some pictures
Thanks. Yeah.
of recent projects that we worked on. So, you're gonna have to share, pass them, and show them, but
And again, if you would say who you are, please, because the owl's not following you.
okay. Christy Turner from Postville Childcare.
Tony Gerke.
Pictures I'm passing around. We have two new projects going on. One is we have combined with the Postville School District, their 4-year-old program, Jenny Feynman's class combined with our 3-year-old preschool class. So this is just continuing our partnership with the school, growing that partnership and really being focused on providing care for children. What you're seeing is an effort between Keystone Area Education and the preschool school district and myself to rearrange the room. Now, I could geek out on this all day about room arrangement and materials and all of that, but I don't want to bore you. Just know it's very thoughtful, very intentional, and we follow a practice called the environmental rating scale. So, the other thing I did was over the weekend, I went in with some helpers and we updated our infant room to also align with the infant and toddler environmental rating scale. And I partnered with Child Care Resource and Referral in order to know how to do that. They came in and consulted with me, talked to me about the materials, which are choice materials in the classroom, and how to set up the room so that it's engaging and that all of the children have a space and also have different interest areas and they're engaged and enriched from 6 weeks old. So we're really geared towards providing safe, quality educational environments to our children. One big thing that we were able to add in the infant room was a baby gate. So that has helped separate the age groups. We would not have been able to do that. I should have just started out saying thank you all so much for your investment in our program, for your support, and for making our last fundraising effort such a success. So we could not be continuing to do this quality improvement and classroom improvement without you guys, without our families, and it's just so important. And I want to thank you so much for that. So where do we go forward? I'll talk a little bit about the wage enhancement program because I'm sure you're interested in how that's all panning out. So as of January, now I'm able to start increasing wages for our current staff. And then we have a plan for hiring. And this is all built into a systematic way of spending down what Health and Human Services has allotted for us from now until September. So there's money we have to spend within that time frame. And with that, we have 16 positions currently, 4 are full-time, 12 are part-time. What we have open are 4 full-time positions and 8 part-time positions. We also have money set aside for summer help, so we can do a summer camp again. And then, so that chunk of money will be spent down by September, and then we also have money that does not have a timeline. And so we'll talk a little bit more about the way of sustainability. So that's really why we're here, and what Tony's going to talk a lot about is how are we going to sustain this program so we can continue providing quality care to our children. So with that.
Sure. Thanks. So I've got a lot of experience dealing with budgets. Bottom line is we're here to ask you guys to add a line item to the city budget to help us out. Christy and I have talked about sustainability. We got the wage enhancement. There's money that's going to be able to be applied going forward, but looking 3 years, 5 years down the road. how do we keep this thing where it needs to be? Short term, we got the fire marshal coming in. He's looking at what we need to have up to fire code to expand some of the rooms. We think we're going to get that done fairly early this year, and that would increase our capacity roughly 15 kids. That puts us close to capacity of 80. What I handed out to you guys was just a simple chart I did on what subsidizing the daycare facility would cost per child, $1, $2, $5, assuming we get that capacity, which I think we will. Our biggest battle here, I think, is we're not necessarily able to price ourselves the way the market normally would in a business. It's a 501c, it's a nonprofit, but there's a tipping scale with what you can ask families to pay versus where it becomes economically unfeasible for them to do that. But do I keep my job if it costs more to pay for daycare? So in a sense, we're restricted and held down on our childcare charges that way. So we've talked about what can we do to go out and find some other ways to generate revenue. Our philosophy, I guess, is to ask for a lot of entities to help a little. And you guys are the first one on the list, but we discussed individuals, different businesses and corporations, who might be private donors, and who we could get to commit, like I said, in the long-term sustainability process here. With the daycare being a 501c3, it opens up some doors for us as well to go out and seek grant money. It's been looked into. We're going to up our efforts on that. I'm also looking at getting an endowment fund started. Again, that's a long-range, long-term thing, but it would really go a long way towards helping us pick up the missing slack here between our cash flow and what we've got to put out. Christy and I discussed if we can get some volunteer help. She's got some ideas for that and maybe putting a program together to help out that way. Various fundraisers, summer camp program. We do rent out 2 rooms, which Christy just recently negotiated an increase in the rent for those. So there's some additional revenue there. One of the things we're looking at is down the road, what's going to be the demand. And Christy knows from our applications and the people who've come in requesting information that we're going to be looking at a lot more infant care, and a lot more expectant mothers have come in. That's a change, like to 18 or something, right? Yeah, so from almost none to it's going to be roughly a fourth of the kids up there.
How many total?
Right now, there we got what?
58
58,
right now.
I was gonna say 60, 58. We open up the capacity, that allows for another 15. So that gets us to 73. And then not everybody's all day, every day. There's definitely an ability to get to 80. And I think with the wait list, we're not gonna have a problem.
How many more infants were applying?
Right now we have 7 on our wait list.
How many does it hold now? Infants.
Infants, one room is, 15, but we're starting to utilize our 2-year-old room as well, because you can have 18 months old in there. So there's some rules and regulations we have to follow along
Which
those
is-
lines.
Try to move them as you can.
Yeah, but yeah, we also are capped based off of our rooms and capacity, and also on the exits, so the fire marshal code. So we are within fire marshal code regulations for 2.5 and older in the majority of our rooms. And the majority of the time we've been providing services, we've provided services for that age group. Now it's been a shift, and we've had a lot of families having children and continuing to have children, which is good. We want that. But our building is not up to code for providing care for 2.5 and younger in a lot of our rooms. And so we need to change that. And it's also a cash flow issue, because we need to have 1 teacher to 4 infants, as opposed to once they turn 2, 1 teacher to 7. So it really does impact our cash flow if we have a heavy infant population versus a heavy to an older population. And that's been a big shift for us.
Things with the wage enhancement as well. Christy's been working with Upper Explorer Land. We're one of 12 communities in the state that chose to do this. The state is looking at us and those other 11 communities specifically on working on long-term sustainability. Not all of that has gotten rolling yet, but Christy's got meetings scheduled and has had some already. I think we're going to get some interest in the state. I think we're going to get some help there as well down the road. But like I said, we're looking for a little bit of help from a lot of people. This is our first stop. That's why I gamed it out, assuming we're going to get to the 80, which I am pretty confident we will. This would be the kind of help we're looking for on whatever scale the city council thought would be appropriate. So,
I don't understand your scale over here, Tony.
so if we had 80 kids and the city were to kick in $1 a month per kid, we'd be looking at $80 a month or $960 for the year. Say 2 would double that, obviously. 10. I ran it up to 20. I didn't really have a rhyme or reason. I just tried to spread it out and show what the different numbers should look like.
City would put in $20 per kid per month.
Right. Exactly. Yep. And we talked about some of the things, we've talked a lot about wages, but there's also classroom materials. Right now we spend probably $100 a month on classroom materials. Yeah, divide that by 60, that's not a lot per kid. There's insurance issues. We get food subsidy, but we still have to feed 58 kids. So there's obviously some things there where we're looking at if we can help with those, the savings there, we can start working on our closing. So I think that's it.
I think another thing to keep in mind is the population of families we have that we're providing care for the majority of them do not qualify for child care assistance. So a huge brunt of our cash flow, what we're asking, falls to the families who do not qualify for child care assistance and most likely will not. And also we want to make sure that we're meeting the needs of our families and meeting the needs of our community. But how can we do that when we look at our budget and the hours that people need care for and make, like, if we have 2 people that need care from 5:30 to 7, but that amount of children need 2 teachers, that doesn't make sense. But you know what I'm saying? So if we're providing what our community needs, what our families need, that does not always reflect in our cash flow and in our budget. So we have to make decisions about the type of care we can provide. So as a city, you can come in and you can say, I want you guys to be able to provide care for our community to meet our family's childcare needs. So we are going to do this so you can do that.
And I would suggest, I just had the tour of the place really for the first time tonight, where Christy and I talked before we came up here. If you haven't been up there, I would highly suggest going up there and taking 5-10 minutes.
It really is.
It's a lot bigger than I thought. I didn't realize how far back it went. And when you look at what's being provided there, it's awfully impressive. And so, yeah, I think this is something that we've discussed with the wage enhancement directly impacts the community, the people that work here, impacts the businesses that we work for. I have no idea what it would cost a business here to have a daycare. I have no clue, but I'm guessing it ain't cheap. So I think this is, I look at it, it's apples and oranges, but I look at it a little bit like the fire department. It provides a service to the city, and certainly we would appreciate any help the city could get. So,
Do you guys have any questions?
What condition is the baby room what would it take to bring it up to fire code?
need a new door.
Well, the baby room,
The
the
baby.
infant room is at fire code.
Okay.
The
So-
other rooms would need to do.
There's 2 or 3, depending on how the fire marshal will look at it, that need to have a door installed, and one of them would need
The
to have a ramp.
exterior door or?
Yes,
or
a door that
firewall?
goes immediately exit outside.
And there's,
Egress.
yes, and there's a couple issues. One has a door that goes out, but it goes into the hallway, and right in front of it, 4 feet away, is the door that goes out. So whether the fire marshal's gonna look at that and go, that's fine, or like, nope,
Yeah.
make code. They're coming in to tell us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
And you want it safe. So.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
we want it safe. And
And
we want
that's-
to meet the care of the children we're providing care for, which is just, like I said, it shifted. And I printed a report so I can pass that around. So you can see the numbers and see how it has changed. So one's from 2015 and it breaks down the age groups of children. And then we have current. We've had a huge shift.
So, the kind of a tiered plan, the door stuff, fire marshal stuff is right up front. Reaching out to lots of different people is right up front. The looking at the grants and other things along 501c3 is a little more long term. But we're spitballing right now to come up with as many ideas as we can and trying to investigate those as quickly as possible. But really sustainability is the issue, and fingers crossed we get some help from the state down the road, but I don't want to rely on that since nobody's making any promise like that right now, so.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
I'm Brad Rose.
Ford Trundle, Nadine Ross.
Ted Jacobson.
We're here on behalf of the Youth Sports Parent Advisory Committee for the Rec and Wellness Committee, Wellness Center. Andy Daring would like to have been here tonight. He's kind of also been the president of this committee here, but he had weather caused him to be playing basketball tonight. But we're here basically kind of just to kind of fill you in a little bit on, what this committee has done to help kind of increase summer rec and also this rec in general for the community. Again, something that is a need for Postville. That's kind of been something that we've needed to see some growth in, some improvements to build the pride in this community. I think summer rec and just recreation programs in general bring to Postville this idea that we as a community can come together and show that we're strong enough and capable enough of being able to allow for our children to be successful in athletics. And again, in that turn, that brings us this ability to just have this pride and the success that can come from that effort and that is put into it. We see that kids are interested in doing sports, but we just maybe just got formed together just to try to make sure that we were doing our best to provide those opportunities with them. And again, that kind of came out about last year and about this time that we were looking at what are some changes that need to be made, and through some conversations with the community up at the rec center, we kind of came up with this general plan of creating this committee and really taking more of a to look at how we can manage all rec, but started off with kind of the summer rec program in general. Yes, and then so coming from that, we basically were provided with from you last year in budget to find ways to improve things like the softball fields and baseball fields and things like that. What you see there is Basically, the budget plus registration that we were able to collect from summer rec programs. Kind of what we initially spent that on this year. You know, if you're looking at that, you know, things, and kind of a breakdown of what it costs for us to pay for things like coaches, and pay for umpires. And those are some things that we were able to use the money to increase the wage of and get, again, a little bit much better participation there from things like the umpires. Looking at, you know, things like, you know, the cost of equipment and maintenance. Any questions, like I said, cost of clothing, you know, uniforms, you know, cost of just basic general equipment that it needed, that we saw that we needed from an inventory that the committee kind of got together to be able to do and look at, okay, what do we have as far as good equipment, what is useful, what is stuff that's junk that's been there for 20 years, like our softball helmets that Nadine played with when she was in rec. Yeah, jerseys that were still there. Like I said, that was just, I mean, what I would also like to point out is the community effort of this as a whole community to come together. I think for the first time in a really long time, for this to, you know, figure out what is the best for us. And like I said, if you look at some of the things we were able to accomplish, it was the efforts of a whole, the efforts of a lot of people just doing their part to help bring this back together. I mean, to help strengthen this program. And like I said, just looking at equipment, looking at what our needs were. And then it's like I said, if one thing I think you look at the big celebration into all of this kind of things, this is, you know, we were able to put together a, well, we end up joining with some other communities to create a league this year that's a little bit more organized, but putting together a tournament, you know, towards the end of the year where we were able to kind of, you know, see all that effort of everyone working together, and, you know, also saw the success of our, you know, the coaches and our 6th, 7th grade girls who made it to the championship games, and just looking at all the community that showed up to watch that game. I mean, that was the biggest crowd I think we've ever seen in a softball field in 15 years. So, like I said, that was just through a combined effort, everyone kind of coming together. And again, from your being able to help provide the income, the resources needed to just make sure that we can be successful for that. You know, and again, on top of the baseball, softball, we have swim team. That's a program that we are still working on trying to continue to grow. That's something that look at what are some ways to get students a little bit more interested in understanding the aspects of swimming and things like that.
Is the swim team, they do it at the city pool?
City pool.
Okay, I've seen the meets. I didn't know it was there's some direct.
And that's and then due to some number sizes, even from Nona, they have combined.
What's the sport engine?
That is the program that they use to manage the swim meets.
Oh, okay.
So when they run a meet and other people have all these entries that they want to enter, they go through that registration program, and that helps them manage the meets. But that is something that Becky Zeman has been working very diligently on, trying to figure out a more cost effective, because that's a yearly fee that have to pay, where she has looked at, if you see below there, an upkeep cost is this high-tech meet manager program that would be just a one-time that we're looking towards next year getting. That's the one-time purchase, and we don't have to worry about ever paying for this new or paying for this registration. And like I said, this was just kind of more of the things that you know, we as a committee were aware of that we were spending. Again, you know, Ted and the wellness center kind of have more of their set aside budget there of things that they, you know, we are more just kind of the guidance there. The wellness center still is the manager of, you know, purchasing these things. Going through and just working on making sure that registration and insurance and things like that, liability is being covered through them. We are just more the grunt work of being able to get the work done, get the word out, go look at equipment and things like that, and communicate what needs to be done. And because in years past, it was always kind of put on one person's shoulders, and that was just too much. If you look at all the baseball, football, basketball, volleyball, soccer, we've kind of shared the load as a committee of just not one person having to do everything.
So there are 5 on the committee with.
There's we have like King Cleve,
About 8 people.
about 8.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of, okay, more than you guys.
It's really been a team effort. Like Brad was talking about, I think this upcoming year, we're looking to make some improvements. I know, especially with the baseball, we're looking at maybe batting cages or pitching machines, and we took on the Castelia field, so there was time and maintenance put towards that, and with the city field as well. And like Brad said, even with like that tournament, one of the things I was really impressed with was when we had city or the baseball field cleanup in preparation. There's probably 50 people from the community at least that showed up to work at both our field and the Castelia field. So that was really good to see too. I think, and just going forward, obviously everything goes up in price, and we're susceptible to that as well. So the cost of equipment, baseball, everything's just expensive now, and we definitely need any help that we can give. And I would just like to point out too, from my end at the Wellness Center, Melanie's done a really good job too of, we appreciate the money that's given to us, and Melanie's done a really good job the last few years of trying to get some of that money back to the city. We've done grants for Gaga pits, drinking fountains. Yeah, we're just doing a grant now. We're gonna get 2 new basketball hoops, so to put up by the ball diamond. And we also did we're fortunate now, this spring, we're gonna install a scoreboard at the city field. So that was a $6,000 grant that Melanie wrote, and we're using actually a remainder of, I think there's about $3,000 left from the previous donation. That's gonna be used to finish the installation. I'll get the scoreboard up and running. So, that's, like I said, it's definitely a team effort, and like Brad said, there's a group of 8 to 10 people who are really putting a lot of effort. But it's the city's definitely helped us as well. We can't do it without the city's help.
And yeah, and that's the thing is that I think what we do allows someone like Melanie now more time to actually do her job better and be able to now go and do things like you can see some of those grants that she was able to apply for, which helped us out a lot, not having to purchase those things as well. So like I said, in the long run, and like I said, just it's hopefully taking off some of the burden from her who kind of got stuck with a lot of this stuff. And like I said, if you're looking at what their end of it, the wellness end of it is, again, they are able to now be able to do more of that side of that they're here of. If you're looking at the scoreboard and you're looking at all those things that equipment was purchased through the rec, you can give props to someone like Melanie, and she also is now able to take that. And again, like I said, we got some portable basketball hoops that maybe you saw at the little sites that played in basketball. We were able to put them up quick and have them play in front of the court, in front of everyone, and things like that. That he was able to get a grant for. Like I said, with that, like Ted was saying though, we are looking long term. What are some things that bigger things that we need just to operate effectively, especially if we kind of created this league. There are some, or just the consistency of league rules, and some of those things lead to things like, well, the size of pitching mound that we have for older kids. they're asking for a specific size of a mound that we don't have, and they're costly. And so will we need to use this money, or will we need money for a scoreboard this next year? No, because we'll be able to do, but we also gonna need other upgrades, like I said, like the portable pitching mound. Andy's concerned about the lights. I mean, there's a significant amount of lights out in the city field there. Again, that he's willing to donate his time and the rec boom truck towards. One of the big other goals is just a batting cage up there. Just the efficiency of that. If you go around some other little league programs like Alcater, you drive down there, they have 2 of them that they put up in the last couple of years. Improvements of pitching machines, and then just the general wear and tear of equipment. Little catcher's masks. I mean, we probably found 7 or 8 catcher's masks that were broken, but it's because kids are tough on them, and 1 or 2 years is maybe the lifespan of the catcher's mask, and stuff like that is not. Like I said, I think though we do have a group here of people that are willing to just do our due diligence, and, seeing those needs, meeting them, and trying to stay like it. Our goal is just to manage them effectively, that purchasing the actual needs, and then now just kind of maybe looking at a rotation of, okay, we got 4 helmets this year. Next couple of years, things like baseball helmets and things like that, making sure that we, don't all of a sudden have 5 years from now having to buy 20 because the other ones are outdated.
And then you just want to add too that the committee also has a really good group of people who are donating time and effort into concessions. And so at these basketball tournaments and baseball and football games, they're making food and donating their time and stuff. And so we are, as a group as well, trying to fundraise and build up our bankroll, if you will. And we're doing it out of donations and people wanting to donate their time and effort at the concession stands at these tournaments and games and stuff. And so we are, again, we're attempting to raise money for ourselves as well. We're not just trying to rely on the city or just registration fees or anything like that. And the nice thing is with the money from this concession stand, like if there is a weekend tournament basketball, basketball tournament going on, that might have a $50 or $100 team entry fee. We're able to use that concession stand money to enter our teams in that, as opposed to asking the kids to pay an extra $10 to get into that tournament or whatever. So the committee's trying really good to offset any extra expenses being put onto families, and we're trying to keep the registration fees as low as possible.
I think that's the other thing. That's kind of one of our ultimate goals, is just to make this affordable for anyone who wants to be able to participate and not be deterred by anything like that. And like I said, we recognize some of these needs are large money things. So, that's why we're trying to establish that fund to be able to offset some of that cost that, everyone is looking for money, and, it's not just growing on trees anymore. So.
The old men's softball league has like between $400 and $500 that's been sitting in the bank just for use of something to improve the softball for the
We
men's.
used it last time for the
I know,
last
there's,
pitching round.
but there's still some left, and this is the time to use it up and it isn't earning enough interest to ever grow.
You don't want to start another men's league?
So is that along by the fairgrounds? Is that where you're?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah. The girls play on the softball. I'm at the high school maintains.
okay.
So,
And like I said, and just working with courts and stuff like school, there's other things like that we're looking at. He's looking at installing an indoor batting cage that he's looking at $15,000 just to do something like that. It's like, well, he's like, yeah, if we find a way to get kids in there to use that stuff like that too. I mean, we're gonna, and then adding on to the softball field and putting in like new storage and things like that. I mean, we want to like make sure we try to keep improve all that. too.
The league consists of what towns?
Currently, Elkader, Clayton Ridge, NFL Marmac, and us. Lansing was kind of tentative last year. They're kind of going through some changes, but I kind of foresee them joining up with us because the person that was in charge last year kind of got pushed out. So Mrs. Moss at school is kind of in charge of that and looking at
Gator, Clayton Ridge, NFL.
us and Lansing is, like I said, kind of in discussion there with us. You know, and we kind of looked at that too, like there are other communities west of us, like West Union and Southwind, that are kind of also part of a different league that's a little bit less developmental. It was kind of the goal of us forming our league here. There's some rules that are a little controversial, but it's the guys that created it were more focused on just some things that they wanted to be. They saw some of the same problems as we were having, and just wanted to be consistent with some of that, with dealing and pitching, how many pitches and things like that. Now, it saves some time with coaches having to talk back and forth every time before they play the game. Well, what are our rules here? You get to steal all the way to third base. Well, here we want to get still second, or you can lead off the home plate or lead off the base. Well, we can't lead off the base. That was kind of the intention of creating that league, but we kind of grew to, again, us being able to do things like tournaments and stuff like that.
Having been a youth coach, I had 3rd grade through 8th grade by myself in Harbors. We didn't have a pitching machine. I was the pitching machine. My arm started dragging on the ground. So I can respect all of that too. And the equipment. Yeah, we were using batting helmets that were the Legion baseball boys probably back in 1972. I had a catcher that was 8th grader, and my fill-in catcher was a 3rd grader. I went from a large kid to a petite kid, and I didn't have equipment. So I wasn't going to have anybody's teeth getting knocked out either. So and then having been an umpire in traveling youth stuff too. So I can appreciate all your efforts and the convoluted rules.
And like I said, we have kind of a list of inventory of everything that we have. If you ever want to see that kind of, we started doing due diligence and checking that each season, and in the season, kind of just slowing out. That way, we also kind of know our needs too, what's going to come through. Now that's something again we're trying to also, where we got jobs too, and we're busy. But again, that's something that, like I said, we're trying to do is just continue to grow and keep finding ways to.
Yes, Damon reviewed for.
That was it was used for games and practices as well. More for like kids pitch or any coach pitch grades, 2nd and 3rd grade.
People from Postville would go up to Cascade. I mean, that's great.
That's
Then you could have
something
more
that-
things going
Yeah,
on.
and that saved
After hours, I think.
It was on James Smith, agreed.
saved us a lot of just time of being okay. Well, you got to practice this time. You got to practice this time, because that's during the summer.
Can work out of the schedule.
It's busy. You by get to practice and probably either playing a game or practicing 4 days a week. I get kind of stuck on summer baseball, softball, but again, we also also consider this as kind of also part of the swim team. That is something, like I said, we're trying to grow too. And Becky's even was really kind of influential in just really taking hold of that and making sure that is a program that still continues to grow. And one of the things we're looking at is like some of these kids just don't know how to swim. So as a committee saying there's a way so we can provide more things like swimming lessons or provide opportunities so that kids get introduced to that sport and see what that is all about.
Well, I have to applaud all the parents that stepped in. About a year ago when we had that meeting
I
and
thought of the
said,
same thing.
it's your deal now. there were a lot of stunned people in the group, and yet everyone, when I heard there was 50 people come clean up the field, that's awesome. So kudos to all the parents that stepped up and said, we're gonna keep this in town, so good for you guys.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Anybody else? No more organizations out there? Okay. We will go then to the K-9 unit. Chief, you want to talk to us about that?
So the packets, I provided you guys two quotes for the replacement of Xena. Speaking with Sierra last Friday, canine officer, it's a green light for her. She's willing to take on another dog for a canine. Be a dual purpose dog, just like Xena was. The one quote was from Code Blue, which is out of Rushford, Minnesota. The other quote was out of North Iowa, K9, which is out kind of around the Fort Dodge area, which Sierra, that's where Xena come from in the beginning. And that's who Sierra works with at the time with Xena when she had to get recertified every year and everything. So both quotes are there. There's quite a big difference on the quotes. But
But are they apples and apples? What they're providing is the same as the other one is?
yeah. With speaking with Sierra, she prefers the Fort Dodge one. I mean, I think she's here. I can go grab her quick if you guys want to have questions for her. Should be better to answer than I would. I got a couple questions for you.
Hey, Sierra.
That this guy's 14 and this is 6, but is the 12.5 part of that? You understand? You seen this?
I have not seen.
That she hasn't seen the code. Explain the Code Blue one.
That green, whatever that is. That you just buy the dog, you don't get anything else. Is that what that is?
Yeah, so a green dog would be an untrained dog, it'd be like a puppy that they would get, and so it has to go fully through it,
Okay.
and that's why it's half
Okay.
more expensive.
The Code Blue defines green patrol as a dog that will be purchased directly from a vendor with no added cost. Untrained.
Yeah. So it would take time to train it, and like, what's the amount of time it takes to train?
Depends on how old it is.
Okay.
Typically, they don't hit the road until they're about a year old.
Okay. All right.
And you will be talking about North Iowa K9.
Yes, that's who Xena went
You
through,
know,
and
too.
no issues there.
And that's
North Iowa Canine doesn't have much explanation in there.
No.
In the
Right,
bid here,
yeah.
You know,
Right.
Yeah.
Now, this is
and it
very.
covers everything that's Code Blue.
They were busy with their dog.
Yeah, he's actually out of school right now, so.
Oh, this dog? Or
No,
a dog from here?
The trainer is out of school right now.
Oh.
So I'm assuming that's why it's a written bid. not
Oh,
right now.
okay, okay, all right.
Is 13 weeks that Code Blue is saying, is that equivalent to the 160 hours that North Iowa?
It's quite a difference.
That's okay. I'm just gonna say that's it's either a whole lot of hours for one guy and not a lot.
Yeah.
in a day for another. Do you know what the differences are?
Yeah.
I mean, is there different,
I've participated in some of their things before, everybody has their own way of doing things.
The 13, from what I'm looking at, is that 13-week, what Code Blue was stating is that they see it would have to go on for 3 months, like 3
Yeah,
me
months.
it looked like they had some limited.
That's
housing.
officer training right
Yeah,
there.
not just the dog, it'd be me too, so I'd be gone
That's-
Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
well, this, well,
You would
we
need that
pre-train
here,
the
'cause
dog
you've
for the
already been
first
trained.
9 weeks.
Oh.
At the end of 9 weeks,
Good.
your
Then-
officer joins
Joins in and she's,
For-
yeah, and she's already.
for 4.
That kind of makes a decision right
For
there,
4
I
weeks.
think.
Mhm.
So we need a motion or something? I move that we go get our next lead from North Iowa Canine.
Second,
Second that.
any further discussion? Not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those say no. All right. Thanks,
Thank you.
Sarah. Okay, item 9, 261 West Stoneman Resolution number 1415-24, resolution setting a date for public hearing for sale of property by bid process.
So, last meeting, we talked about selling the Stoneman lot again. I had the city attorney draft up the rules we took out. I think we had Homes Forever, or in the last Iowa Homes, we took that out. Basically, it just states that they will have to put a home on the property. 12 months of closing.
No minimum bid.
No minimum
No
bid.
minimum bid was taken out, yeah. So if you're okay with that, you can pass the resolution for me to give notice to the public that you're gonna sell your property.
So they have to put a home on 12 and 13 or just
No,
one on both?
Just one, it's just one lot.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty, you add the two together and it's still pretty small.
Okay, it's one
Yeah.
lot, it's one buildable lot,
Okay,
so it would only be a single family home.
one home.
Mhm.
Does it have to be owner occupied, or is it a rental option, or does it
Well,
matter?
I don't know that we've stipulated that. Usually single family home, I don't know that we care whether the owner lives there. or
Just
if
so it's a home
rental.
built on it.
Yeah.
Is the survey required to be brought up to date? Or no? I mean, I was looking at it, I didn't see it, that's why I was asking.
Whether we're paying for it or a buyer's paying for it, is that what
I'd say
you're?
buy, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
we could put that language in there if you want.
I've just worked with enough stuff in my
Yeah.
days to know that a few feet means a lot when it comes to a small lot.
We could certainly add that language in before we,
Adding one.
that it has to be surveyed.
Oh, yeah.
No, I just, you know me, I'm a news person, gotta make notes and
Right,
ask
yeah,
questions.
yep.
Are there any like minimum construction standards that you guys, as far as your
They would
building
have to
code?
follow we follow Unified Building Code, International Building Code, yeah.
So, but I mean, does the city have a square footage minimum or a basement minimum requirement?
Mhm.
Or a type of construction? You don't
Same.
care if it's does it have to be a stick built? Could it be a prefab?
It could be a prefab, yeah,
Okay.
as long as it is in regulation with the single family
The zoning,
zoning regulation and building.
gotcha.
They would still have to get a building permit.
Okay, that was my question.
Happens if we don't have the things that in 12 months.
All that would be up to the council to, I mean, you certainly would want to work with them. If they're not doing what you want them to do, then it comes
We're
back
not
to the
defining
city.
that at this time.
I mean,
Maybe that would be,
I would assume then it will come back to the city.
okay.
Yeah.
I
You
mean,
guys then discuss it a little more.
yeah, if you want that in there, we can certainly put it in there.
Back to our attorney to find the language, right?
Okay, so you want, if it's not done in 12 months, it comes back to the city?
Property shall revert back to the city, or the property with the constructed house. No.
Well, you don't know how far you might get or who this
Right.
person might get.
If they started something, they're probably gonna finish it.
You would
Yeah.
think.
If there's nothing happens on it, then I think it should come come back to
Well,
the
that's
city.
the 12-month thing. So if it isn't done and anything's going on in 12 months, it comes back to the city.
Okay,
Do you want it? Mhm.
Other questions? So we need a motion for the resolution? All right. Is there a motion for the resolution?
I'll make a motion.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
You need roll call then, Doug? Okay.
Moore?
first,
Yeah.
That's what happens when you come late.
yes,
Moody?
Yes.
Ingstrom?
Yes.
Engelhardt?
Yes.
All right. Hopefully we can get something moving on that one. All right, then item 10 is the Bobcat pallet fork purchase request. When there's information in the packet on that.
And I did get one other bid today, which I laid out for you from the C.
right.
So riser was at 1,050. One from Messer for 1,330. Bobcat 1,099, and then this Seabrecht 950.
Yep.
Is that
Where did that, was that here, I thought when we first came in.
Yeah.
Yeah, Darcy had to lay it out for you.
So I know
So actually, this looks like it's the same attachment.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
Mhm.
And it's cheap.
It's a new one
Is that
from
Jared?
Jim Palmer.
Mhm. Yeah.
Was
That would go on that toolcat, that vehicle they got, you know. So, yep.
So have we done business with all these people before?
Riser is where we bought the toolcat.
Toolcat.
We have not done business with any of the others.
Okay.
the Seabright Ag Board,
Yeah,
they met all the specs. that we
they
wanted.
did. Yeah, it all matched up. Yeah.
Well, Jim Palmer, is he a salesman for Seabright?
Yes.
With Seabright.
I
Jed Seabright's boy.
Was it?
Jed Seabright's boy.
Okay,
You know Jed?
okay,
They're in the old Prairie Egg.
Yeah.
okay.
I think we should go for the low.
Are
Okay,
you making a motion?
motion.
I move that we purchase it from Seabright Tag for $950.
All right, second.
Second.
Any further discussion? Not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those say no. Carry. All right, item 11 then is the consent agenda. Thing in there that you guys want to talk about? Not there yet? Anybody know?
The council, Deborah's not here, but council.
Connection.
Media
Yeah, I
library.
know.
What's
She's
that?
with the council connection.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was going to give an update, but she had a family
Okay.
situation.
How did that go, Crystal?
Well, we're there every week. We talked to Bob a lot, and we talk to each other too, and so we kind of are thinking about things and coming up with ideas. About the kind of people showing up.
So,
It'd be nice to see some of the rest of you.
Well, I think it is gonna be somebody else. I think she was the one that her and Crystal got together on it, and so she would have been the one to go, but. Oh,
It'd be cool just to have people rotate each time, or, I mean, Deborah and I can be there, each week, but having someone else kind of rotate in, and that way there's sort of fresh blood.
I was easy on them.
I
I
hope
was
so.
easy on them. I didn't bitch about
Okay,
it.
okay.
Well, you not sit there, let me be official. This Thursday's council connection is a special one about housing. We're gonna have Val Ranky from, Elm Clayton Economic Tourism, Economic Development Tourism, and then we're also gonna have Michelle Barnes from Upper Explorerland. So they're gonna share out the results of the Almaquee County Housing Survey, and then they're also looking for information and feedback as well. So anything about housing, this would be a good week to come. And
Lady in Alcater, in charge of housing, she had to do something with community development. She talked with my wife was down there.
you talking about Darla?
There you go, Darla County. Good, bad, or otherwise, if we have housing that's development in this property that we bought, Clayton County,
Right.
so that's sparked her interest.
Mhm.
Okay, so I mean,
I think Darla, we already invited Darla. Val's invited a bunch of people.
okay, just wanna make sure that her name's out there.
We invited landlords, both in-state and out. We invited all kinds of people. So, yeah, and then I know also that Deborah has been getting some emails because she could set up an email account. So that's all I know, I think.
All right,
What
thank you.
time is that at, Krista?
It's Thursdays at 4:30 at the library, and then we also have a Spanish translator available if that's needed. And then there's also an anonymous notebook that we have if someone wanted to write something and they ask a question, they couldn't come during the time.
Thanks. All right, anything else on the consent agenda? Not, is there a motion to accept that agenda as printed?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All right.
Or one of you can have it.
Okay, thanks.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Carried. All right, item 12, then a resolution for money to pay the claims.
I move that we pay the claims.
Second?
I'll second
Okay, Darcy, whenever you're ready.
Moore,
Yeah, here. Yep.
Moody,
Yes.
Ingstrom,
it. Yes.
Engelhardt.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Stay salting for a month maybe. Okay, and then gets us to 13. Any more public comment?
I'm sorry, I'm sorry. It'll be much quicker this time. I said so much earlier. I wanted to reiterate that we're forming a welcoming group in town right now. The goal of that group is just to try and help people who are new to town get situated quicker. Sometimes those people need clothes, sometimes they need household supplies, sometimes they just need maybe a translator for one time. They need to know where to go to get their driver's license, things like that. So we're working on forming that group.
Kind of like a welcome wagon. They used to
Yeah,
have in the
and
office and
the group
cities.
gets to pick their name they want, and then pick some projects and things they want to work on, and an appropriate name. But so maybe we
I resemble that remark.
Heart and Soul's already started a newcomer document. I feel like Heart and Soul could pass that on to this welcoming group and finish that newcomer document that tells like all the information you would need when moving to town, work on getting it translated. So if you're interested in being part of that group, let me know. Come see me at the library, or email me, or call the library or something. So
How do they make the connection?
how does
The newcomer, how
we
does
haven't
it?
figured that out yet?
Oh,
We haven't
okay.
even formed the
That's
group.
why I have that
So,
committee.
Well, I was like,
I think probably people being more aware of their new neighbors and actually like approaching them, or if the community knows that we have a welcome group, they could say, "Hey, I have a new neighbor."
We'll let the real estate people around the area know also.
There's a lot of ways that they could reach out to new folks, but I mean, we always hear when people are new in town, so well, probably they'd be reached out to. They wouldn't have to come to us. We would probably go to them. So hopefully it wouldn't terrify them if we showed up at their house.
One thing I noticed tonight, all the people. But it seems utterly ridiculous to me that we are paying for that damn wastewater plant up there. That's all I have to say. And I hope the people of Postville come and ask all of you why we are paying this money to them. That is ridiculous. There have been people who have worked up there who tell me that wastewater plant, they don't use it all the time. If something happens on a Friday and they wanna get out of there, and they don't wanna work on Saturday, of course, that they follow up. Okay, everybody, be safe tomorrow.
You as well.
Happy New Year.
All right, anybody else?
My question is on this, Morning Glory Investments, that I take it is right between Hogs, or part of it is the Hog building, or the Hog lot.
Are you looking at the building permits?
Yeah. And apparently everything passed, right?
So far,
Yeah, so I mean, I thought that was gonna be a pizza
it is.
manufacturing
It
place.
is.
Okay,
But they have a retail space,
above,
in front,
okay,
and then there's a seating area above, upstairs. There's
Okay.
that upper level was added on after.
yeah,
So,
the one, it's followed the correct processes and all that.
after the fact, yes.
You didn't ask for a second story when you first asked
Right.
to have.
Right.
Hence why you see the other application there.
Right, so then they asked for that, okay, I mean, I guess I thought that they're doing new construction and
Yeah,
making something up, so,
Looks better than,
what's that?
Yeah.
looks better than,
Yeah,
you know,
so,
so.
I hope they don't shovel any of the snow from Nick's.
sidewalk snow,
Any of that off the roof or.
that roof is slanted, I don't think it's slanted towards Nick, is it?
it's a flat roof.
I wouldn't want to be
It's a
that
Oh, it's a
much.
flat
It's
roof?
in
Oh, I
there.
thought they put some pitch on it, oh, gee,
On the new one, you mean?
I thought that was done for slanted.
Nope.
Isn't that like Nick or something?
Oh,
So maybe we'll put your test this week or tonight. or
Right.
Tomorrow.
well.
Yeah.
Then you better have your roof higher than Nick's.
Yeah, it is.
That's the bummer of it,
We shall see. All right, anything, I got the mayor's report, comments. So did you guys see the upcoming meetings we've got coming up?
Yeah.
All right,
16th, right?
Yes.
union negotiations at 6:00.
Budget.
Second here. Is that all part of this here, tax,
That's your union negotiation.
right? What's the next one?
January 22nd would be a budget workshop,
What time is the one on the 16th?
6:00.
6, okay, I didn't know if it was 6 or 7.
6. And the attorneys will be joining via Zoom.
And then, the 22nd, is that it?
It's here, it's a budget workshop.
But is it 7 or 6?
It's at 6.
That is all at 6. I didn't write anything down.
6 and 6.
So
You're
on
providing supper for the last one.
I'll be here. Your wife gonna cook us a meal?
Probably would.
So on the 16th and the 22nd at 6.
Correct.
Yes,
It'll be a Tuesday?
Correct.
Yes.
The
So what's
16th is a
Martin
Tuesday,
Luther.
the other is a Monday.
hopefully the weather's good.
Well, I'm supposed to go to Cedar Rapids tomorrow. You
Are ya? Oh,
Good luck with that.
I don't know.
we'll see.
So we need to take this one packet that we got to bring it on the 16th.
Yeah, or you can put it in your drawer if you got it. I
Oh.
don't have it here.
I
We
don't
all
know
show up for the
that.
union negotiation?
Yes, and it's not open to the public. It's exempt.
I'll take it on, maybe. I
Okay.
looked it over, but I didn't know for sure.
Well, you can take it back, look over.
Is it our
Darcy,
turn to
you
comment
checked
now?
with other municipalities to see where they landed on these kind of negotiations?
I'm seeing it on my clerk feeds, yeah.
Okay,
It's
well, I'm
budget
not
time,
asking
yeah.
to what is, it's what you have with history, and, there's
Results.
nothing previous,
Yeah.
see where things are landing.
Time for us, so we can-
Yes.
Okay, when somebody purchases something in town, does it have to be, does the city have to know about it? Do they have to come and say we are purchasing such and such address?
Well, if
or-
they want water, they should tell us, yes. But a lot of times people don't say anything.
Yeah, so that has been done. Okay,
Well, I think we all know what you're referring to.
yeah. So when is the water in their name now?
Talking about Good Sam?
Good Sam.
It's in Sanford's name. The
And
Good
still in
Sam.
Sanford.
Yeah.
What are they doing?
Took the for sale sign down.
Well, it's sold. I just don't know for sure who it is. Can't tell you for sure. I didn't. I called Sanford and yeah, it's what they said, but
Oh, yeah, huh? Or you want-
well, he said the paperwork wasn't done yet.
Maybe morning
They're pretty
hours,
good. Pretty good bunch of liars.
Yeah.
So, anything else, you guys?
Well, the committee, the people that showed up with their budget requests were way better prepared with their
Yes,
presentations than what I have ever
yeah,
experienced in 16 years.
yeah.
I guess applause to those groups who went out and did it.
Yeah.
Bristol, everybody. I think it'll give you some rewards, okay? We gotta know what you do. If you don't know what you do, it's pretty hard to just keep shoving money in.
The way they had it all.
Talk to me
written
about the
out.
softball league stuff.
Well, there's so many worthwhile things in our town, and it's like you can't, and then every one of them's needed, So the thing is, we're going to see, how much money we got because we're figuring it's going to be less already, so we'll see. Well, we can, you guys.
I think there's also been a renewed emphasis by these groups presenting on getting grants.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
you
stuff
bet.
that was dragging, that wasn't happening before.
Yes.
And,
Kind of cool.
Well, Melanie and Renee know how to write grants, and that helps.
It
You
sure
know,
does.
it-
Yes.
And they both enjoy doing it, but they enjoy
Do a good
looking
job.
for them, so
They do a good job.
anyway,
with it.
yeah, so, yeah.
All right. I don't know what our owl problem was
No.
tonight because it didn't track. So,
But they could hear us, right?
yeah,
Oh.
we had audio. So, all right. Well, if there's nothing else, is there a motion to adjourn? Second?
I'll second that one.
All in favor, say aye.
You just want to go see the rapids.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, thanks, everybody. Thanks for coming, you guys.
Yeah.
Laura, you're going to Cedar Rapids tonight?
Well, no, not tonight, but tomorrow.
Did you update
Tomorrow?
the app on your phone
Possibly.
already? For Owl?
I don't know. I may chicken out.
That's the problem, but I
But when
don't.
it misses-
Is it
yeah,
by-
when it's
is it
over.
by-
It was the
I
app
have
on
them
the
for
phone.